Hello, everyone. My name is Edith Romero, and this is my literacy autobiography. So, a little bit about myself. I am originally from Oxnard, California, which is in Southern California, right close to next to LA. And I moved up here to the Central Valley about third grade, I want to say, but going backwards really quickly, my parents came from Mexico. They migrated here in search for better lives and opportunities, like many do. And so my mother and father instilled education into me and my siblings. They talked and constantly enforced education, and so we were upheld to those standards. A lot of the reason that has to do with it is because my mom only went to third grade, and my dad went to sixth grade because that's all they offered in their two different cities. And so they wanted to give their kids the opportunity of education and learning and giving them a better life and giving them the different careers, things that they were unable to do. And so this is just a picture of me and my family from a quick vacation that we had this past winter. Okay. So one of the big things that played a role in my literacy journey is my parents actually working in the fields. And so I remember being as a kid taking my parents' lunch or just visiting them, and I would see the various fruits that they're picking, the different methods that they were picking in. And so I would be intrigued by that, and I would ask questions through the different workers or my parents themselves about how the things that they were doing. And so they were explaining that to me, of course. And that was, looking back at it now, that was my first dive into actually knowing things and getting into education. I was about 4 or 5. I think I remember taking them their fruits and stuff. And so agriculture has made a big impact in my life because it started as a young age for me. And to this day, agriculture is still a big part of my life, which is one of the reasons why I'm pursuing agriculture education. And so, going back really quickly, my mom really wanted us to be proficient in Spanish before we learned a new language. Spanish is my primary language. And so she knew that going into the public educational system that is primarily English. And so she would make us watch these bilingual shows like Dora, Handy Mandy, Maya and Miguel. And I know a lot of people did watch Dora growing up, but she would not let us watch anything else besides bilingual shows. And now looking back at it as again, it really played an important role in not only me understanding Spanish, but also learning English and being able to compare the languages and translate them. Okay, so again, our my move played an important role because in Oxnard, I was around more family members than I was here in Central Valley. We only had my aunt and uncle in which we lived with them and their two daughters, and they spoke mostly English. They did speak Spanish, but I would always hear them speak with their daughters English. And so that was really, I don't want to say a culture shock, but it truly was a culture shock because this is something different and new to me. And so that played a big role into me, learning English and developing myself even further. My aunt would have literacy circles where we would have just readings. And so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we would all get together. It would be my aunt, her kids, and myself and my siblings, and we would read these books. And my mom would make us do this because she saw how her daughters were really learning English and becoming proficient in reading at a high level than their age. And so she wanted us to get that exposure. And me looking at that back now, it reminds me of Goodman's quote in which she says, being read to by parents, grandparents, teachers, siblings, and other caregivers establish one kind of context in which children are engaged and emerge in becoming full-fledged members of a literate community. And so I didn't think about this being a literary road, but now reading that and looking back and writing this video out, it really came out to me that this is, hey, this is a road that helped me develop me now because, like I said, it was a really motivating factor for me. Okay. When I was in junior high, my dad got a really stable job and he was working tremendously long hours. And to this day, he still is. He would work 12 hours a day. And so I would only get to see him during the night. And during the night, that's when he would watch the National Geographic. He'll watch shows like The Incredible Dr. Pol and Caesar 911. And at that time, these educational shows were interesting to me. But most importantly, I was able to take some of the stuff that they showed and implement that into real life, like some of the things and trainings that Caesar did with his dogs. I tried to do when I was about that age with my dog. So I was, learning that and bringing that in. And so Ferrer talks about, seeing our world as text, as books. And so this is one of the things, and now looking back, this was my textbook at that time. This was how I was learning about these animals and how to take care of them, and how Dr. Pol did different surgeries and different procedures and things to keep their animals healthy. I was doing that with our animals. And so this was my textbook for me. So that was really important in me shaping my literacy journey. Also being another road for me is doing, spending time with my dad, but also learning this different type of shows like these. I would watch also Discovery Channel with my father as well. And so I wouldn't really watch, reality shows and other stuff, but this played an important role in my life. Also, after school was another thing that played an important role in junior high. I was really into the after school program. Their program was really based on sciences and STEM. And so they would have us do different things. We'll learn about it, speak about it, and then implement that. And so I feel like the after school program was a big factor in me becoming more aware of my learning style, because now I was able to understand that, yes, I can read a textbook and read all these different articles, but for me to learn more in depth, I have to take a step extra and be more hands-on with things. So that was another thing that helped me develop myself. And so 2 programs I want to highlight in my high school career that played a tremendous role. And I know I keep saying that these things play an important role, but these 2 programs are the biggest stepping stones that I've ever taken, but they have also given me the greatest thing out of them. So the National FFA organization is the largest youth organization in the world, and I can go on and on about it, but what it did for me is it helped me develop my public speaking, which at the time when I went into high school, I was a scared freshman. I sat in the back of the class. I didn't like to speak. I was scared when I was called upon, and I would have really bad anxiety to the point where the teachers wouldn't just even ask me any more questions. However, my agriculture teacher saw potential in me that I didn't see myself. And so she was more hard on me. And because of that, and she would make me also do these different career development events, such as public speaking, impromptu or prepared speeches, and also job interview contests, in which now I can utilize those skills that I learned in my day-to-day basis. I used many of the job interview skills that I learned to get some of the jobs that I have gotten in the past. So this was another road that helped me develop myself, because it helped me, in my opinion, literacy is not just reading and writing, it's understanding, speaking, communicating. And so this program helped me communicate with the world. The next program is the Navy JROTC. This is a more military-based program, and I know a lot of people have their opinions on this program, but this program really helped me see things differently. It helped me realize that people learn differently. And at the time, I knew that people learn differently, but I never really saw its full context until I was the drill team captain. Kind of like this team right here. I had to teach the many different members of that team the same thing that they all had to follow at the exact same time, but they all learned differently. And so I had to learn and develop different skills to help them. And so that in turn helped me realize that, hey, people learn differently. And as Goodman explained, is that there are many roads that people take, and some roads can be shared, but no two roads are the same. No two major roads are the same. So this really played an important role in me learning that and understanding that on a different level. And lastly, one of the last things that really helped me develop my road to literacy and just my overall understanding of the world was showing livestock. So showing livestock, again, could be a whole separate video, but in just a few minutes, the livestock portion of my life really helped me tremendously. You know, working with an animal that doesn't speak to you has its challenges, but I was really, really motivated and just working with these animals. And so I would communicate constantly with my advisor. I would speak to constantly with my peers, with the judges, and actually selling one of these animals, I was able to purchase my first laptop. And in my house, there was no computers. And so this was a door into a whole nother world. The internet is something so unique. And so when I was first introduced to it because of agriculture, because of raising livestock, it that, you know, and looking back at it now, you know, selling this animal, I never would have thought purchasing a laptop would open up my world tremendously. And so I started looking at videos to help me with the laptop. I would look at videos to help me improve my showmanship and stock skills. And so they all made me realize, and what Goodman explained is a lot of these roads can be intertwined. And so this was one of the roads of showing livestock on its own that intertwines with my educational journey because it opened up many, many doors. Like I said, the internet was a big thing for me. So this was my literacy journey, and I hope you enjoyed it.